Okay.
I'm still here alone, and I'm hurting, trying hard just to stand again. All these scars that I keep hiding burn like fire beneath my skin. In the silence I am falling, still you pull me back again. And when I'm losing hope, you hold the shattered pieces of my soul. 'Cause I'm broken, but you're healing every part of me I wasted. Yeah, I'm open to the mercy that you gave the day I strayed. And when I'm hopeless, you remind me I'm not lost, I'm not forsaken. I'm broken, but in your hands I'm being remade. I've been running from forgiveness, trying hard just to numb the pain. And all the wreckage that surrounds me shows the cost of my foolish ways. But you're near me in the darkness, calling out my name again. And when I'm losing hope, you hold the shattered pieces of my soul. 'Cause I'm broken, but you're healing every part of me I wasted. Yeah, I'm open to the mercy that you gave the day I strayed. And when I'm hopeless, you remind me I'm not lost, I'm not forsaken. I'm broken, but in your hands I'm being remade. Oh, and I know every time I fall, you pull me close. Every scar I hide, you still behold. And somehow you still call me your own. 'Cause I'm broken, but you're healing every part of me I wasted. Yeah, I'm open to the mercy that you gave the day I strayed. And when I'm hopeless, you remind me I'm not lost, I'm not forsaken. I'm broken, but in your hands, in your hands, I'm being.
All right. Hey, guys. How are you? As you can see, we're in the car. I'm in the car with Pastor David here.
Hey,
And we're on our way to Dallas. We're going to meet up with Jake Long. We're going to be going to his crusade. I think he called it Crusader Christmas March, something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. But we're going to be with Jake tomorrow. As he's marching from Epic City, I guess, to City Hall, really to bring awareness and attention to the Islamification of America. Which again, I don't know how many of you actually have paid attention, but it's happening. So, but this video I want to talk about. So, Pastor Dave and I were just talking, and we noticed that there's a significant dip in our views in December. And not only are we noticing it, but I've heard from several others the same thing. So I decided, hey, was there any updates or algorithm changes from YouTube? And yes, there was. They did a core update, and then they also are using Gemini AI to actually watch and listen to videos and live streams to determine what the content is. And so what they're doing is they're deprioritizing any content that does not have an expert backer, which includes Christians, Christianity, religion, spirituality, things like that. So they're being deprioritized. Anything that's considered political or spiritual is considered sensitive and not nice. Anything dealing with sin and judgment and end times is being deprioritized. And you can verify this for yourself. This is how they've looked at the algorithm for our content. So Christians, conservatives are all having their views suppressed on YouTube, and they're using AI to do it because they're looking for uplifting content. They're looking for things that can be verifiable from trusted sources. And I mean, we know the Bible's a trusted source, but according to Google and AI, it's not.
It's not.
So I just wanted to push it out there because, like I said, we know. I mean, we were getting what would you say, 10?
Well, okay. We went to the Charlie Kirk Memorial in Amarillo, and that was a small memorial service. 176,000 views is what I got on Ruben's.
No, it was 200 something.
Right. Well, it was 200 and something, including yours. You had over
40 or
like
50,000.
40 or 50,000. I had 176,000 on that, or 179.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So we were over 200,000 views on a very small memorial service. And then I've made videos since then that have had anywhere from 1,500 views to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 views, 14,000 views. So, and Rich has had thousands of views on his too, under the old algorithm. And because we were building the platform up on that, based on that old algorithm. Now, here's the problem I see with this. If you took the warning label off a pack of cigarettes, you're going to encourage more people to smoke.
Right.
So what's going to happen now is they are setting this up because they know that there are some crazy things that are going on in our country, and they don't want Christians to warn you about it.
Correct.
They want to reduce the viewership of Christians who are actually Bible believing Christians, because they don't want you to be warned about things that are happening in the world from a biblical perspective. They want their experts, whoever they are, and
They, them.
by them, they, them.
They, thems.
They, thems, or whoever, they want them to be the experts and not, I would say Rich and I are kind of experts on the Bible.
Well, they do classify me as an expert on the drag queen LGBT stuff for sure.
Yeah.
I've been asked to testify as an expert because of dealing with it.
I'm kind of an expert on Santa. So anyway,
Mythical creatures.
Yeah. So in any case, my concern about this is that they're doing this at a very critical time, to where there's going to be bad things happening in our country.
Well, look what's happening now.
Right. Look what's happening now with the whole Islam thing. That's what we're going to now in Dallas. We're going to go preach. We're going to go march at a Christian crusade for Christmas, because like over in Europe right now, they're not having Christmas festivals in Germany anymore,
right,
because the Muslims are going around stabbing people.
They're blocking Christmas tree things.
Right, and it's getting so expensive for them to provide security because of all the nut job, peaceful religion of Islam, right? That they can't afford to put on the Christmas festivals. It's a takeover.
Yeah,
that's going to start happening in America.
Yeah,
and they don't want Christians to warn you about that.
That's right,
because then you might rise up and do something about it. Yeah,
can't have that.
Can't have that, right? So,
well, and that's exactly what's happening. So, a lot of you guys know, Brother Chris, Ricardo, and I were in Florida doing that whole Muslim thing. And again, I talk to Dave about this all the time. That preaching we did there nothing really happened that if the Muslims didn't cry or whatever, there was nothing really notable that happened. I mean, we've done crazier things than that, preaching at homo events and whatnot. So the fact that, that happened, and I say this because, of course, there's a contingency of, I don't know if you want to call them Christians or what at this point, that just really hate to see what God is doing here. Because the entire world is talking about Islam right now, and not in a good way. We have managed to turn Islam into a bacon meme, their faith into a bacon meme with a crying imam. Literally, that's what God did. And, the fact is that God is the one who's working through all of this. Now, I'm getting criticism from people for yoking up with the Patriots and the J6ers and, Jake Lang and Enrique, Torres, and all that stuff. I'm getting a lot of Christians who are really hating on me for it. But here's the thing about that. These guys are coming down here and standing against Islam in the streets. They're out here standing against Islam. Where are the street preachers doing that? Where are the Christians doing it? And I say Christian because, there's some people out there that think they're so much holier than everybody else. They would never stand with a Jake Lang. Why not? Why not? What is wrong with him? I see people say that, oh, he's Jewish. Even if he was Jewish, so what? Does that mean he can't stand against Islam? Should we not say anything because he's not, whatever, but he's not Jewish? I heard people say that he's getting paid from Israel. The funny thing is, I got accused of that as well. When we did that whole bacon thing.
Me too.
I got accused of getting $7,000.
Yep.
I wish that were true, by the way. If Israel offered me $7,000 to do this, I would take it in 2 seconds to do it because I'm not going to change. But, I got a little insight into these conspiracy whack jobs, and I got accused of being paid by Israel. I assure you. And of course, no matter what I say, it doesn't matter. Israel paid me to say that too. But these guys out there, the Patriot group and the not so humble boys, if you want to call them that, they're the ones out there trying to change the culture. Now, are all of them Christian? Probably not. But I will say this, when it comes to us being out there preaching and they know we're there, those guys have had my back in Michigan. Those guys have had my back in Minnesota. On top of that, when this whole Muslim thing went down in Florida, where we stood against them, it was Christians, street preachers that came against us, making videos against us. Do you know who didn't do that? Cam Higbee, Jake Lang, Enrique, the Proud Boys, the Patriot groups. None of them came against us. Matter of fact, they all supported us and elevated the situation to completely flip the narrative on CARE and what the Muslims are doing. So for all those people out there that say, well, whatever, I think it's jealousy. And I know this video stream is about YouTube's algorithm. We talked about that already, but just know that the world is coming against us. And as we see these things happening, right, the whole world is now talking about Islam, right? A lot of stuff about Islam is being exposed, the hadiths, right? A lot of people are waking up to the reality of what Islam actually is. Like, for instance, if you actually read the Quran, now there's some people who say they read the Quran. It's impossible to understand the Quran without reading the hadiths. You cannot read the Quran without reading the hadiths. Okay, you need both.
You have to explain to them what the hadith is.
There are other scriptures written by the people that are considered sacred. So, for instance, in the Quran, Muhammad's only mentioned like 3 or 4 times. That's it. And there's things that the Quran talks about that you need the hadith to understand. So when you put all these together, you get a picture of a man who, number one, was a necrophile. He had sex with dead relatives. Number two, he was into some homo stuff. I mean, it says in the hadith that he kissed the penis of his grandson. Now, of course, modern Muslim apologists say it wasn't penis, it was navel. As if that's really any better. The hadith talk about his grandson, in head in his lap, and he came up and started kissing his side, and Muhammad says, that's what I wanted. You got the story of the Al-Zut, which is, Muslims try saying, well, that was he was reading the Quran to the jinn all night, and it tired him, that's why he's in pain. That's not what it says. The hadith says that he was there, the Al-Zut, and Abdullah was there, and the Al-Zut came, and they were naked. They were tall, black men. They were naked, and he goes, I couldn't tell the size of their genitals. What is that any significance if he was only there to read the Quran? And then it says the Al-Zut rode him all night long to the point where he was in pain the next day and couldn't walk. And Abdullah sat there and watched. So we got voyeurism, we got, homo sex, Muhammad is the power bottom of Arabia. Homosex, necrophilia. He married a 6-year-old, had sex when she was 9. This is not a faith that any normal, rational person would want to be a part of. Okay, and Muslims Muhammad said war is deceit, which means they're allowed to lie to you. But you see, the world, right? The powers and principalities that the Bible tells we're going to deal with, they don't want you to know this. They don't want you to know the truth. See, the principalities of the world don't mind a Christian out there that says that God has a wonderful plan for your life. No, he does not. That's a lie. It's a misreading of a scripture in Jeremiah where they get that from. Because God's purpose for your life as a Christian it's not wonderful by the world standards. It's full of what? The Bible says the world's going to hate you. That's not for you as a Christian.
3 volumes.
There's a lot. The first six are considered the most important.
Right. And if you want to imagine, the Talmud is the Jewish version of that, and it is the commentary of big rabbis and their commentary on.
But we don't recognize it as.
But we don't recognize that as authoritative.
Muslims do recognize.
Muslims do recognize the Hadith, which is basically a Muslim version of the Talmud.
Yeah.
And it's about the life and the teachings of Muhammad. And so it describes what happened in his life and what he did and all these different things. And it's considered factual. It's considered historical.
Sahih is reliable. It's called Sahih. Like Sahih al-Bukhari is reliable by al-Bukhari.
So basically, they teach the Quran and then they look at it in the context of the Hadith.
Right.
The Hadith gives the Quran context.
Yeah, there you go. That's the best way to put it.
That's the way they look at it. And so you got to understand that the Hadith is just as much a part. They will always say
the
Quran doesn't say that, but it does say in the Hadith. Okay, so the Hadith is just as authoritative as the Quran because it's the context Quran.
Yeah.
And so they go by this a lot. And so if you want to understand Islam, you can't just read the Quran. You got to understand the Hadith. Now that's 23 volumes. That's a lot to read. But you get a pretty good idea by looking at excerpts from it. I mean, when you're reading in there that he married a 6-year-old, took her virginity at the age of 9, and that he was thighing her.
And he was watching her, he was masturbating while watching her bathe between 6 and 9.
And then he was basically molesting her sexually in between. So you understand then that Islam teaches pedophilia is okay. That's what it teaches. Now, if you want to accept that, you're probably going to go to hell.
Probably?
Most likely you're going to go to hell.
Most likely?
I think you're definitely going to go to hell.
You think?
I know. I know you're going to burn in hell.
I'm just messing with
you. I know. So, but my point is this. If you want to truly understand Islam,
you need the Hadith.
You need to understand the Hadith. And to understand parts of it, and listen, there's only certain things you need to know about it. If you understand that it promotes pedophilia, if you understand it promotes necrophilia,
beating your wife,
beating women, that women are property and things like that, and not property of God, property of men.
They do believe that.
Men.
They do believe that.
They believe women are lower than dogs.
Yeah.
In a lot of aspects. As a matter of fact, under their legal system set forth in the Hadith, that it takes 4 women to equal the testimony of one man.
That's right.
Because women are considered stupid and not capable of testifying reliably.
Right. That their accounts aren't.
So it's anti-woman, it's anti-children, it is
pro-death.
It's pro-death, it's pro-murder. Those are the main things you need to know about.
Pro-lying.
Yeah, pro-lying, takira, what are they? Takia. Where they are allowed to lie to infidels as long as it furthers Islam.
Bingo.
And it furthers jihad. It's a part of jihad.
Which is holy war.
You can lie. As a matter of fact, Allah is called the greatest of deceivers.
That's right.
That's one of his many names.
Who is called that in the Bible?
The devil. Satan. It's called the false accuser, the great deceiver. Anyway, if you want, you have to understand Islam in that context. And once you do understand that, you will never see Islam the same. It will not be a peaceful religion to you.
It's not a peaceful religion.
It's not a peaceful
unless it's PIECE.
Well,
because they do like leaving body parts.
I like to
pieces
call
of people's bodies.
it's the rest in peace.
Yeah, it's a rest.
That's what it is. The rest. Christianity built hospitals. Islam fills them.
That's right.
Okay. Christianity invented orphanages. Islam makes orphans.
Yes.
So that
actually isn't the Muslim Brotherhood has been known to kidnap Christians.
Yes.
Christian children from their parents, raise them Muslim.
Force them into Islam.
So what Christian parents have been doing out in the Middle East is when they're babies, they go to special ceremonies where they tattoo a little cross on their wrist. So when those children, they knew that they grow up, they know they weren't they were kidnapped from their parents.
Yeah.
These are stories you're not going to hear from mainstream anything in America.
Right.
Because again, in America, we're taught as Christians that we're supposed to just love your neighbor without understanding what loving your neighbor means. We're taught that we have to be agreeable, we have to be nice. You can never say anything offensive. Like I said, last time I was watching the news and they had a pastor on there, and I heard the pastor say, he says, God has a purpose for your life, a wonderful plan for your life. And I said, where does it say that in the Bible? See, as Christians, we want things to be easy. We want things to be comfortable.
Where Jesus said, pick up your cross.
Right, and pick up your cross isn't a bird, right, by the way. Pick up your cross. You got to remember, we view the cross today as a symbol of our faith, as Christianity. But a Jew living in the first century would not see a cross as love. You would never hear a Jew in the first century say something like, love one on the cross. A cross was an instrument of torture and death. It evoked fear in the Jewish community, in the early Christian community. It was not something they said, oh, love one on the cross. That didn't happen back then. So we have to understand as we're reading the Bible and doing things in context, Christians stood up for their faith. Christians were skinned alive for Christ. Christians endured the most horrific things happening to them, and they did not recant. They did not change things. They were bold. Whereas today, most Christians, a little bit of, you're an Islamophobe. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Let me tell you how much I love Islam. How much I love my Muslim neighbor. You're a racist. No, I'm not. I got black friends. We're always trying to prove ourselves to people that hate God and hate us. Why? Who cares? I spent a lot of years trying to prove myself to the street preaching community. I had a large following. I wasn't really part of it for a while. For a while, I was out on my own, and then I became a part of the community. And let me tell you something, that community sucks. They are terrible, terrible people. Not everybody, but a lot of them are. I have had a wake-up call. That the people that think they're the holiest of the holy are some of the worst of the worst. And I don't say this as oh, I hate these guys, because, it's just that I realize that being part of communities isn't always the best thing. It's a good thing when you're part of a good community, but being a part of a bad community can hurt you. And like I said, last night I did a little interview with Jake Lang, and David and I will get to spend some time with him over this weekend, before the march. And I think we had plans afterwards. I don't know what the flight out is. And I heard a lot of bad things about him. I've heard a lot of bad things about Cam Higby. I've heard a lot of bad things about Enrique.
A lot of bad things about Rooney, too.
Heard a lot of bad things about Rooney, yeah. But, I'm getting to know these guys. And I'm starting to appreciate who they are. Do I wish that they would drop the cussing? Yes.
And we've got work on that.
And we can be an example to them of that, to not be like the world. But these guys are righteously indignant against what's happening. They love our country. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with loving your country. Love Jesus first, then love your country. But there's nothing wrong with loving your country. God commanded the Israelites to protect their country. Israel had borders. Israel fought to defend their country. Israel fought to keep their culture and their way of life intact. And God commanded them to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as it's not for the wrong reasons. So I want to encourage, because there's going to be a shift, at least for me. My focus is shifting. I no longer care about trying to please my brethren or trying to say or do things that make them happy, because you know what? They're not going to be. No matter what I say, what I do, no matter what you say, what you do, someone's going to get mad. They're going to critique you. They're going to slander you. It's a part of life, and we got to learn to deal with it, every one of us, and just do what God has called you to do. If there are men and women who are willing to fight the good fight, if there are men and women who are willing to go out here and protect our children and our women and our way of life, join them. Well, let me rephrase that. If they're Christians, if an atheist is out there, am I going to condemn the atheist? No, I will preach them and tell them come to Christ and make this more effective, because when God is part of a movement, you'll see an increase. You'll see how God works and elevates and moves these things and brings people into it. Because everything we do is about Christ. Everything we do is about God. Everything. And I know a lot of people are, they don't like that God promotes others, because, to them, they're I'm the Christian. And if God were using these guys for this, he would use me because I'm more Christian than they are. So therefore, it can't be God. And that's what happens when you rely on yourself. That's what happens when you view yourself as the standard by which we all measure up to, right? It's we got to be your standard, not God's, not Jesus's, right? We got to do what you say. We got to be like you. No, I'm interested in being like Christ. Thank you very much. I'm not looking to measure up to anybody else's standards. I want to please God first and foremost. That's all I care about. And it did. And I'll be the first one to admit, I was always like, hey, what is so-and-so? I don't want to offend my brother. I want to make sure my brother and sister aren't offended. But if we start looking at things like that, well, then you got to decide each brother and sister is going to get offended by something different. Next thing you know, you're completely neutered, and you got to make sure. You're going to sound like a woke retard sitting in one of these meetings going, excuse me, can you use my proper pronouns? Let's not use the word fag. Let's not use the word slut. Let's use a whore. Let's not do this. Let's not do that. Then we start becoming like them, but on the conservative side of things, right? That we're more concerned with what we say and how we say it. And we're more concerned about being offensive than we are about being truthful.
It's really a lot of Christians today are running their Christianity like a PR campaign rather than a evangelistic effort.
Yeah.
They're trying to win people over with their niceness and all of that. That is not going to win people over. What wins people over to God is the truth.
That's right.
The Word of God.
Amen.
And you give them the Word of God, and you give it to them. You can give it to them gently. Like Ruben made a video once.
Not everybody needs a strong rebuke.
Right. Ruben made this great video one time. I always referred back to this video. He made a video that said basically, God will send somebody out to you to say Jesus loves you. And then if that doesn't get you, that doesn't win you over, he'll send somebody out to give you a gospel tract. And if that doesn't win you over, he'll send somebody to sing you a Christian song and serenade you. And if that doesn't work, he'll send a hard-headed preacher like me tells you if you don't get saved, you're going to go to hell. That's the progression. You see, if nothing else works, God is going to try to go nuclear on you because that's what it takes.
Yeah.
If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes.
Man, that guy really didn't want you to get over it.
Really didn't. I was going to try to get in front of him, but he was speeding up.
Yeah.
So, it really, most Christians operate their Christian faith, like I said, as if they're operating a PR campaign. Like, well, we got to sell Jesus. He's got to be the hippie Jesus with the flower in his hair and a smile on his face. And he can never be angry. He can never be judgy. Judge much, judgy. We can't be judging. Just like that. Jesus, that's a wonderful plan for your life, and he never judges anything. Yeah.
Meanwhile, hell exists for a reason.
They only try to turn him into gay Jesus. Okay? Jesus wasn't gay. He had a backbone. He was a man. He was a man,
and he did
God.
And he wasn't limp-wristed.
He wasn't limp-wristed. God is a man of peace, and he's also a man of war.
What does the Bible say? There's a time
for everything under the sun.
Time for peace.
Time for war. Time for love, and a time for hate.
That's what the Bible says.
What the Bible says.
We ignore those verses.
And we ignore those verses because we like the hippie Jesus. We like the Jesus that wants to take everybody to coffee.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, right? When David slew Goliath, I want you to think about this. Did he try to have an interfaith dialogue with him first? Did he try to say, you know what, Goliath, let's sit down and talk and settle our differences? No. He picked up a slingshot and threw a rock at his head and then cut his head off. Now, I'm not saying we need to do that.
I just love you, Goliath.
I love you so much. God loves you, Goliath, and has a plan for your life, and it's to kill you.
Yeah, this God's plan for your life is hell.
And of course, that's the Old Testament. Well, we don't throw out the Old Testament. The Old Testament is a shadow of Christ. All the festivals and all the feasts and whatnot, the Sabbath, those are all shadows of Christ, right? That tells us who God is, who we are, why Jesus had to come, right? That the Old Testament doesn't get thrown out simply because you don't like some of the rules or some of the things that it says, right? You might become a Marcionite if you do that. Marcion was a Gnostic heretic who believed that the God of the Old Testament was different than the God of the New, because the God of the New Testament is love and, like you said, not judgy.
Right. Now, I heard a pastor say this one time about the New Testament, the Old Testament. And he said, this is exactly right. The walls of the New Testament stand on the foundation of the Old.
Yeah.
You cannot have the New Testament without the Old Testament. You throw out the Old Testament, and the New Testament doesn't even.
Well, Jesus quoted the Old Testament a lot. Even on the cross, on his dying on the cross, he was quoting Psalms.
He was quoting Psalms 22.
Exactly. And most people don't know that either.
Yeah.
When he said, love your neighbor, he was quoting Leviticus 19.
That's right.
Most people don't know that either. They think he was just giving good vibes.
Yeah. Just love your neighbor. And if he's gay, just hang rainbow flag. It'll all be good.
If he's gay, don't tell him he's going to hell. Don't ever do that.
Don't ever do that. Don't tell him he's going to go to hell. Don't be judgy. Don't be judgy.
You got to be nice and agreeable.
Yeah.
You're never going to win. And again, you know what I love more than anything else, you guys? When Christians tell us you're never going to win them that way. Well, how many people have you won? Because you can say what you want, but the thing is look at the world around us. Don't tell me you're winning all these souls to Christ and they're all becoming Christian when the world around us is getting worse and worse. I mean, we live in a country, America, where we are now close to blasphemy laws. Not even kidding. And Christians support it. There are some, and God has shown me this, there are some Christians that are so evil. And I really want you to hear me on this. And I want you to understand what evil is. There are some people that would rather see Sharia and blasphemy laws implemented in America than see God use men like us to succeed, or to see God use movements like the Patriot movement to, there are people that would rather just see, you know what, so that they could say, see, I was right. See, these guys did it wrong. It's because you want to talk about evil? When you hate somebody so much that you would rather see a blasphemy law take effect than just admit, you know what, maybe God is using this one. Maybe these guys, maybe, whatever. That's evil. To say that it's not is delusion. That is pure, unadulterated evil, and it's pure and unadulterated hate. See, we stand against Islam. We stand against the LGBT. But it's not out of hatred for those people. Do I like those people? Absolutely not. But I still want to see them saved. I still don't want anything bad to happen to any of them. Some of them are fathers that have children, things like that. And if a father dies or goes to pray or something like that, what happens to their families? I don't want things to happen like that. The way we preach and why we do it is because we're trying to get them out of that, because we don't want those things to happen. So it's not out of malice that we preach the way they preach these people. We're doing this because we want their attention. We want to wake them up. We want to shake it, wake up. What's wrong with you? But you have people out there that are, again, utter hate. And of course, they claim that are hateful, but anybody can claim anything. It's the actions that determine what somebody is or is not. David told me something a while ago, and it's so true. Look at who defend. What was it?
You can always tell your foe from your friends.
No, your character by who defends you and who attacks you. Something like that, right?
You always tell your foes from your friends by whom they attack and whom they defend.
No, but it's about you too. Like something you said too about, like, because you were talking about how people attack me. It's all the homos and the Muslims, the oneness. It's never people that like do what we do.
Right. It's
and you got like the other street preachers like a John Williams camp who cheat on their wives.
Right. But that's okay. Because
what I'm saying is it's those kind of people that are against us. You'll know who you are, whether you're serving God or not, by whom attacks you and who supports you.
You're known by your friends and your enemies.
Right.
If the devil is your enemy, you're with God. That's a backhanded compliment. If the devil knows your name and doesn't like you, it's because you're not on his side.
Yeah.
You're an enemy of the devil. If you're an enemy of the devil, you're a friend of God. If you're a
pretty simple
of God, you're a friend of the devil automatically.
Pretty simple to me.
There's no neutral ground. There is no neutrality with God.
No,
You are on one side or the other, period.
it's as simple as that.
Simple as that. Whether you believe it, whether you understand it or not, you're on one of those sides. Everyone is.
So, and like I said, before I move on from this point, I want to understand this because I said my focus shift. It's shifting to a point, but we're still going to do what we need to do as Christians, right? We're still going to call the adulteress when necessary, when it's out there, and part of because again, we can't yoke up with adulterers any more than we can yoke up with a homo or a Muslim, right?
We're still going to have Santa Claus.
That too. But I want you to think about this. If you find yourself always happening to agree with the Muslims, the homos, the atheists, if you find yourself aligning with them, maybe you're the problem. If you find yourself always aligning with them and against, whether it's me or David or even a Jake Lang, if you find yourself always seem to side with the enemies of God and then claim the people that you're criticizing are the enemies of God, but you're siding with the enemies of God, you've got things twisted. Now, again,
You're deceived.
I understand we're in 2025, about to be in 2026 America. We have social media, and let's be honest, most people aren't going to change. I wish it weren't true, but it is. I can come out here and I can give you all the biblical evidence. I can make every single exposing video I want. Most people aren't going to change. Most of them aren't.
But the few that will.
But the few that will. But here's the thing. I'm going to do what God tells me to do. And I'm going to, and here's what I'm going to put out there. Because what we need more than else is, number one, is your prayers as we continue to do this. Because you got to remember, we have the entire world. And I don't say that, to exaggerate. If Florida David and I were just talking this morning because we left my house. We should be almost in Dallas, no?
We just passed through Wichita Falls.
How far away is it from Dallas?
A couple hours.
Dallas is not far from us. That was only 4 hours.
Nope. We're like 5 per house. 5 hours.
Oh, okay. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, we need your support, your prayers, because, like I said, if I've learned anything, we were talking about this morning, Dave and I, about what God is teaching me, and this thing in Florida. Because again, it was a pretty uneventful preach until the Muslims saw an opportunity to try to, wage jihad. But I stepped back and I looked at the situation and I said, we had CARE, the Muslim Brotherhood, basically from the MSA. We had the Hillsborough County Sheriffs, the mayor, the city council, the SVU campus police, SVU, everybody was gunning for us. Every single person. It was not looking good because Muslims wanted to introduce blasphemy laws. They did. And our street preacher and brother are the ones that stood against us. And it was all the patriot, every single one of them, not a single patriot, and I use that broad brush, came against us. Every one of them stood with us because they saw the danger. How is it that people that you don't like, Christian, are the ones that see the danger? How is it they see the danger and you don't, but you're the holiest of the holy? How is that? Let me guess, that's of the world too, right?
Well, think of it like this.
Go ahead.
Think of it like this too. If you're going to criticize the Patriots because you think they're not godly enough, but they're out there.
Why don't you show them how to be godly?
While they're out there standing for their country.
Don't rebuke them.
Maybe they love their country more than you love God if you're not willing to go out and stand out there for God.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Because if they're standing there for our country and we're standing there for God, there's nothing wrong with either one of those things.
Nothing wrong with either one of those.
Let them see us standing for God and understand that, hey, we're with them.
But if you think it needs to be so godly, why are you not there? That's the thing about abortion too. It's like everybody, all these Christians say, I'm pro-life. I'm pro-life. Do you ever stand in front of an abortion clinic? Do you ever go preach against abortion? Do you ever do that? No. Well then.
Oh boy, you got me in. Now you're going to get me in another topic.
Well, then exactly how pro-life are you?
Well, okay, how about this? How exactly, the abolitionists, right? And I'm not going to touch this too long because I want to make a whole separate video about this. These abolitionists that claim, hey man, if you're pro-life, you're not of God. Really? That God is not an incrementalist. They go after everybody who will pass laws to protect somebody because in the abolitionist movement, apparently murdering all babies is better than saving some with the ultimate goal of saving them all. It's the most hypocritical nonsense I've ever heard in my life. I've had so many of these Christian abolitionists attacking me because I support bills that protect life. Are they perfect right now? No. But I believe in saving babies with the ultimate goal to save all children.
That's the same way we look at souls with Christ.
Well, but I'm not willing to sacrifice babies because my agenda, my ultimate goal is being met in this moment. And these abolitionist Christians, and I say this because I got a lot of patriots that are really starting to find out who we are and being introduced to street preachers. And I don't want to think all street preachers are like some of these guys, because they are the ones who push people away and say, you know what, I don't want nothing to do with these guys. But the abolitionists, oh, God's not an incrementalist. God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah in one night. That's true. But they forget how long was Sodom and Gomorrah doing what they were doing before God destroyed them. How many warnings did God give them before he said, I'm done? Lot was there preaching.
Is God saving mankind?
God destroyed Molech. Yeah, after how many years? How many years did he warn the Canaanites to repent before he destroyed them? Don't sit there and tell me that God is not an incrementalist. You as a Christian, if you believe God's not an incrementalist, the minute you sin, how come he didn't kill you?
And how come God is not? If God is saving us all of mankind incrementally, one soul at a time.
But no, but I'm saying though, if God was not an incrementalist and said the minute you sin, you should be dead, because the wage of sin is death. Right. So you should be killed.
God allows sin. People ask me this all the time. Why does God allow sin? God allows sin because he's long suffering. What is he suffering? He's suffering through all this sin that he hates.
Yeah.
And why is he long suffering? Because he wants to save people.
That's exactly right.
He wants to save people. You have to leave room for redemption and repentance.
Yes.
So he has to tolerate and be long suffering towards a certain amount of evil. Right? That's why he calls all men to repent.
But also God said that and people forget this too, when it comes to the world, you know, God said, Adam, this is yours. You have dominion over it. The world was given to man. We're supposed to be the ones that take care of this. God said, here, you take care of this. This is your domain. This is for you. You have dominion over the earth. Adam gave it over to Satan. Jesus won it back for us. We as Christians are supposed to take this world back for Christ. America should be taken back for Christ. Not Allah, not Islam, not your baby murdering psychopath liberals with the blue hair and the septum piercings. No, this nation belongs to God. And it's going to take the Christians alongside with the patriots, who a lot of them are Christians. But it's going to take all of us working together, because at the end of the day, every one of us wants to see babies not being butchered in their mother's womb. Every one of us doesn't want Sharia law. Every one of us wants America to honor God again. And we're not going to do that if we're sitting there picking at each other saying, well, you know, Rich, you work with this guy and this guy's not a Christian. Well, you know what? That guy's more of a Christian than you in my book. I don't really care what you think anymore. I'm out in the field, and there are other preachers out there, but there's so many preachers out there that are more concerned with making social media content and getting paid from social media. Look, my Instagram account is just about to hit almost at 100,000 followers, 7.5 million views. I don't make any money from it. I'm not allowed to monetize. My TikTok's almost going to hit 10,000. I'm at 82. What did I say?
8,100.
I'm going to hit 10,000 in the next month or two. I'm not allowed to monetize there.
We're not making any money.
We're not making any money. Matter of fact,
why we ask for donations?
I have a Give, Send, Go out there that I was only able to get $1,700 on the Give, Send, Go, which was out there to everybody. How was that? And that was for free speech. That was for fighting for all of us. Because legal bills in this could go up to $20,000 on this thing. But yet, it's the Christians, the good, you know, F you're fascist? Oh. Somebody forgot to take somebody
blue hairs on there calling everybody a fag.
Somebody missed their yoga class this morning. Yeah, see what I mean? I mean, these are the people that think that they're the moral.
You had to bring up the septum.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Bring that up. That brought them in.
Well, they always do that because they have no life, right? They're so triggered by everything and everyone. How dare you say it's interference? Hey, F you fascist. Right? These are the people that think that they make up the majority of the country. No, they're just the loudest, most obnoxious of us because they don't work all day. They don't do anything except eat, live in mom's basement, sit on Reddit all day, talk about how evil Donald Trump is. You know, how we need to free the patriarchy, whatever they say.
Orange man bad, blue hair good.
Right. Most of these people that say fascists don't even know what fascism is. They're the same people that will say, I don't like your speech. It hurts my feelings. Therefore, you be in prison. Which is what fascism is, by the way. They're retards. They are retarded. They either have a screw loose somewhere. Maybe they had a lobotomy. I don't know. But these people do not represent America. They are not the best and the brightest. They hate this country. They got the brightest colored hair.
While we're in Minnesota, can we drive by Tim Walz's house and call him
Call a retard? We should do that.
Let's do that. He was complaining about it. So if we go to Minnesota next month and we go up there on another march, let's drive by Tim Walz's house and go live and call him a retard.
There are people actually lining up doing it now.
Yes, I saw a video of
They're literally lining up just to call him a retard.
Call him a retard.
Oh my gosh. We're going to trigger the Christian, whatever. Don't call people retard. See, the thing about retard is when I say retard, you think of the person with Down syndrome. That's not what I'm talking about. That's your problem.
Yeah. Really?
The word retard literally means stupid or foolish. That's all it means. Actually calling someone with Down syndrome retarded is actually the insult because they're not retarded.
What we mean by retard is somebody that willfully acts stupid. A fool. That's a fool. A person that's a fool. Who's willfully ignorant, willfully stupid.
See, here look at this person here. Guz drips down here. That's all they talk about is sex and fascism. I mean, they're disgusting reprobates. They hate everyone and everything. That's what they are. And yet, as Christians, we think we're supposed to, guys, don't hurt their feelings. Dude, their feelings are everything. You step on a cockroach. Oh, you killed a cockroach. Oh God, no, that was a life.
Yeah,
These people you talk about, murdering their babies. You talk about how, you crush a baby's skull and then wait till the brains leak out of its mother's vagina. Oh, you have no uterus. You don't have opinion.
Yeah, they're wanting to murder babies in the womb, and then they go around to farms stealing chickens and calling it rescue, and then they get 90 days in jail and they have to make all these live videos about how they're being persecuted.
Rich, you stood in front of Muslims and said Muhammad was a pedophile on a power bottom and you ate a piece of bacon. Ah!
And we're going to do it again.
You may not like that, and that's perfectly fine, but that's not illegal. And all the liberals want to see me put in jail for it and then call me a fascist while they're asking and wanting and fighting to put me in jail for my speech. But you know what it does? Stuff like that, you liberals never understand. See, what liberals and homos and Muslims, what you never understand is you created me. See, I had a Facebook page. I wasn't a street preacher. I had lots of followers. It wasn't until the LGBT came after me. They've created the person who I am. They're the ones who enlightened me to who they are.
Well, God created.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they
I'm not saying. I said it the way I said it because I want my critics to take that clip and say homos made rich.
Yeah.
I want them to do that because I want to see them isolate themselves. Yeah. Anybody with a functioning brain is not looking to simply attack me knows what I mean by that.
Yeah.
They're the ones who got me fired up to go out there and do what I do.
Right. They motivated
me. They don't understand because the average Christian, you're right. Most Christians, when you put pressure on them, they flee, they run. Right. But what you guys don't know is, do you know Ricardo lost his job because of the stuff in Florida? He didn't put that out there. He got fired for this. He got fired for exercising his First Amendment rights. That's all he did, and he got fired. And in Florida, it's an at-will state. There's nothing he can do about it. How many of you are willing to donate to the Gifts and Go? How many of you want to donate right now so I can give Ricardo a little bit of money to help him out? How many of you want to do that? I guarantee you almost nobody watching the stream is going to do a damn thing. And that guy lost his job to protect your speech. My speech. I was with him. He stood there and he's fighting alongside with us to stop the implementation of a blasphemy law down in Florida. Thank God for Governor DeSantis doing what he did. But how many of you Christians want to criticize and then say, well, good for him. He shouldn't have done that. He lost his job because of that. For his speech. See, when you say stuff like that, you're no better than the liberals. You're no better than the enemy of God. When you think people should be punished and fired and canceled because their speech hurts your feelings, because their speech hurts somebody else's feelings, you're the problem in this country. You're the reason why Muslims are taking over. And yes, they are taking over. They're using the homos as their brown shirts right now because once they're done, The homos are going to throw them off all the roofs that are here.
That's going to be the night of the long knives. Well, that's what happened.
I know.
With the brown shirts, the night of the long.
But that's what I'm saying. You're the problem. When you think you may not look, you don't have to agree with us. You don't even have to like what we say. But speech shouldn't be a crime unless it's a true threat. Not a manufacturer, not, well, my feelings think it is. No. You're the problem. You are why this country is in the shape that it's in. And don't give me this, well, guys, you know what? No. This country is getting worse and worse and worse. You can't blame a reprobate for being a reprobate. You can't blame a Muslim for following their satanic, pedophilic death cult. That's who they are. But you can blame the church for not following Jesus.
That's right. Blame Christians for being cowards. When most Christians, they don't believe, pick up your cross and follow me.
No, they think,
They believe,
I hate my job. I hate my life. It's my cross.
They believe, pick up your latte and follow me.
Well, no, it's not even that.
That's how Christians.
Ask a Christian to tell you what pick up your cross means. They have no idea what it means.
No, they don't know what it means.
They think that, well, I got a crappy job. I'm not a millionaire. That's my cross to bear.
Yeah, I got a bad parking spot. That's my cross to bear.
That's my cross to bear.
Yeah. Somebody unfriended me on Facebook. Such persecution. Such persecution.
Right. And then, of course, you have the Christians that come, there's no persecution in America. Well, maybe you're not being persecuted, but again, that's that whole, I'm a Christian, I'm not being persecuted, therefore, ipso facto, no Christian being persecuted.
If you're not being persecuted, it's because you're not doing anything. If you were out there doing what Jesus told you to do, you would get persecuted for it, because we live in a godless society today. America is turning its back on God. The world is turning its back on God. And if you stand for God, the world will come against you. If the world's not coming against you, it's because you're not doing squat.
Bingo.
You're sitting at home on your keyboard. We're going, you shouldn't be doing things like that because it's making people think badly of us Christians.
No, they're making people think badly of me, not Christianity. The reason they think badly of Christianity is because of you, because you have softened it up so much, watered it down so much that people think Christianity is weak. Matter of fact, what's interesting is on Twitter or X, whatever it's called, X now, when this whole thing happened with the Muslims, I saw people tagging guys like Andrew Tate or whoever else who said they became a Muslim because Christianity is weak. That Christians will literally let people beat them, just stand there, run over them, abuse them, and do nothing about it. So they said, I want to be part of that. When we did this thing, and by the way, I don't think it was that strong of a thing to do, to be honest. I mean, but apparently in today's culture it is. But anyway, so they started tagging all these guys saying, oh, you think Christianity is weak, huh? What about this? What do you say now? These guys went out there, because Muslims are known for being violent, right? They're known for it. What do you think now? See, the thing is you're used to being a doormat. You're used to letting the enemy walk all over you, that the enemy knows that if they say something like, oh, you're not making me want to be a Christian, you're going to do everything in your power to appease them. You're going to make the Bible and God more palatable to people who already hate God, because you're so concerned with trying to save their soul, right? And wanting people to get saved is a good thing. But you're so concerned with that you're willing to let them tell you who God is. You're willing to let them tell you how you should preach to them. Tell me these things. I'll get saved if you tell me this. The Bible tells us you can proselytize by land and sea. You can even win one person over, but you make them twice as much a child of hell as you. We're so concerned with numbers. We're so concerned with how many of you led to Christ. Everybody I talk to, I lead to Christ. Everybody.
Be concerned with truth. Be concerned with truth.
Truth,
not numbers.
Not numbers. Because you know what? At the end of the day, if you're preaching and you're preaching in a way to make people like you, you're not preaching for God.
Well, even if they were right about the numbers, what are the numbers showing? People are leaving churches.
Well, no, actually, they said it's stabilized now because ever since Charlotte. But here's the thing about it. So what's interesting is all these pastors talk about how many people are getting saved in their churches every week, right? Oh my gosh, we got another 50, another 100 people saved.
That'd be radically changing the culture if that were true.
And you and I did a number study on this. We spent that one night, remember, looking up what would happen if every church in America had one evangelist out there.
Yep.
Do you know that it has been proven, and it is done, using analytics and whatnot and history to prove this, that if every church in America had just one person out there spreading the gospel, that in 2 years, America would fundamentally be a different country if one Christian from every church evangelized in their city, because nobody would go anywhere without hearing the gospel, without hearing about Jesus. If one, just one.
But most modern churches today think that flopping around on the floor and waving their arms
Oh,
around,
let me smack you till you puke.
waving flags is a real move of God. No, a real move of God would move your butt out of that pew and out into the culture.
I want you to think about this. How many people are coming to this march, stand against Islam tomorrow? I have no idea. I don't know how many. It's going to be a lot. I talked to a reporter last night who's going to...
It should be hundreds of thousands.
It should be.
It should.
Every single Christian who cares about God, who cares, because the thing is if Islam takes over, you don't understand what's going to happen. What they're going to do to you and your children. They play nice right now, but see, this is a problem. We don't actually study. We don't know our enemy at all. History shows what Muslims do. They come in as a minority. Oh, we're nice. Look, let us cook you dinner. Let be nice. Then they start getting more numbers. Then they start complaining about rights. They start complaining about feelings. Then when they become the majority, they start killing you. And your wife, your women, your children become their property. And if you don't believe it's going to happen, then you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're an idiot who doesn't want to study history.
You're going to lose your head.
You'll either have to convert, and many liberals will convert after all, because they're a bunch of weak people anyway. They'll become the little baka boys for the Muslims anyway. They'll dress them up like women, and they'll like, they'll be the ones that get sodomized for them. That'll be them. They'll probably like that though, because Muslims are allowed to do that too. But anyway, so we're hundreds. I guarantee you that the only street preachers that will be represented there will be us. That's it. I guarantee it. There's not going to be any other street preachers there except for myself, David, Jim Gill. Jim Gillis is coming all the way from
Wichita, Kansas. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, to come down here for this. The only street preachers you're going to see are going to be this group of us right here. That's going to be it. All these other street preachers are going to make videos about why they're not there, why they can't stand with these guys. Great, wonderful. Then don't complain. Don't complain. You're not doing anything to change things. I don't see street preachers out in front of mosques. I don't see street preachers doing much of anything other than bitching on Facebook. But yet, 50 people got saved in your church this week, and yet the culture's not getting any better. With all these Christians getting saved and all these churches every week, man, based upon that fact, history, America should be really a godly country again. But it's not. How many Christians are shacking up, having sex outside of wedlock, thinking nothing wrong with that?
Bunches of them. How many are going to get drunk at bars on Saturday nights?
Yep.
Bunches of them.
Yep.
They come out of there staggering drunk and tell me all the time, I'm a Christian. No, you're not. You're a drunken fool who is basically blaspheming the name of Christ by standing here as a drunken example to the world of compromise and hypocrisy, but you're not a Christian.
I got to put you on. I'm sitting here like
You're going Saturday nights, Friday night, and calling yourself a Christian and going to church saying, praise Jesus, I serve the Lord. No, you're not. Says the book of Jeremiah. You think you can go out and do all these things and then come back and raise your hands to me and say that you are delivered to do all these things? I don't think so. You're a stinking hypocrite. If you're going out getting drunk, you're not a real Christian. If you're going out and if you're
doing the things God says not to do,
and you're fornicating and living with your girlfriend or boyfriend outside of wedlock and going to church, you are worshiping God in vain, because you are a hypocrite. Look at Matthew chapter 15, verse 8 and 9. It says you're a hypocrite because you profess me with your mouth, but in your works you deny him.
Yeah.
Because you're worshiping him in vain. If you are living in sin, if you are living in willful, deliberate sin, you are not a Christian.
That is right.
You are a liar. You are a hypocrite, but you are not a Christian. And that's unfortunately.
See, look at this. All they're talking about all they're talking about is masturbating, these liberals. And yet, these are the ones that want you to trust them with your children, and everything in their mouth is just filth, excrement. That's all. Well, then again, they are humble, as we expect to come out of their mouth.
Right.
Excrement, right?
That's shoved so far up their butts, it's coming out of their mouth. So but
they're mad because what happens is 3 men, and Dave brought this to my attention the other day. 3 of us in Bartlesville changed the entire city. 3 men showing up in Bartlesville changed Oklahoma. Supreme Court justice out. First time in 8 years, and 3 men. 3 men showed up at a parking garage. And look what happened. The whole world's talking about Islam now. That's all it takes is 3 of you.
2, 3.
2 or 3.
Sometimes 1. Sometimes 1. But
every church should have somebody in their city every day out there talking about Jesus. You want to talk about changing the culture? You want to talk about, winning things back for God? Do that. But you won't, because we're afraid of losing our jobs. We're afraid of losing our family. Let me tell you something. I've lost just about you should see the text messages, the barrage of text messages I got from my brother. My brother, the brother I gave $6,000 to bail him out when he's about to lose his house because he racked up his credit card debt, didn't tell his wife. And I had at the time the money. My brother, who, I would die for my family. Literally. You should see the message my brother gave me after the Islam thing. Okay? We're going to lose family, friends, jobs. Ricardo lost his job over this. And he didn't do anything wrong. Some of you Christians say he deserved it. He didn't do anything wrong.
I lost my career at Pantex over shooting Santa Claus.
If you think that you deserved it, you should be fired because over speech, then you're a liberal. Congratulations. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Congratulations, you're a liberal. Now, when I joined the Navy, I swore to protect my country against enemies, foreign and domestic. And yes, I got out of the Navy. I was honorably discharged. But my oath never stopped. When I became a Christian, I made an oath to God to defend God, to stand up against evil. That oath doesn't change. If you're a Christian, you stand up for God. You live for Christ. You do what Jesus said. Jesus said, if you love me, you will do what I say.
And if you don't love it.
So I'm going to ask you on this video, where we're going down here right now, because we have a preach in January. We got New Year's Eve. We got January 7th, 17th, can't remember the date. And then the end of January, we have down in Gasparilla. Then we have March, Florida again, March, spring break. We have a lot. And to be honest, I want to go to Washington, D.C., and I want to preach in front of CARE headquarters. I want to stand there with my megaphone, because we're allowed to do that in D.C., right?
Yep.
And I want to stand and bacon. And stand in front of CARE headquarters.
With a pig's head on a stick.
But the one thing that we're needing more than anything else to travel to do this is money. Now, of course, there it is. Yeah, we're asking for money to go minister, to preach, to travel, to preach, to go do something, to stand against evil. That is the one thing that we need more than anything else right now. Dave and I, we're not getting canceled anytime soon. Not going to happen. Because he's retired and I'm a disabled veteran. We need your guy. We're willing to do it. We're willing to take the beatings. We're willing to incur the ire, whatever. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. We'll do it.
We pay our own bills.
Pay my own bills, right.
We need money to travel.
So I'm asking you tonight, if you're watching this tonight, it's during the day. I'm so used to my videos at night. I'm asking you to commit to supporting our ministry so that we can travel and preach, because that's what we do, right? At this point, we've been doing this for years. We travel a lot. All you have to do is go back and watch our channel. You'll see we travel a lot. We want to do it more. So I'm going to ask you today. Now, again, I've done this before, and we'll see what happens. I want to ask you also as well to help Brother Ricardo. He did not ask. He doesn't even know I'm doing this. But we have a Give, Send, Go link if you want to do that for our legal stuff. And I believe Ricardo would fall into that legal category, right? Because he lost because of this. He can't sue his job because of, again, Florida's an at-will state. But our Give, Send, Go link is givesendgo.com/official street preachers. Give to that link. If you don't want to do that because the fees are kind of high, you can support us directly. We do have Cash App, which is $WFC, like Words for Christ, WFC Church. We have Venmo, which is at Words for Christ Ministry. We have Zelle, which is support at christianjournal.net. What am I missing? PayPal, paypal.me bit.ly/XTRIAN Journal Media. I know I'm missing. Oh, and if you want to use your credit card, we have bit.ly/Warriors for Christ. You can do that right now. And you know what? I'll send a Ricardo we get. Also, I'd like to take some of these guys who maybe don't really know Jesus out to dinner tomorrow night after their preach and pay for their dinner
And witness to them.
and witness to them.
Yeah.
How about that? You want, again, I don't know how many would do it. Now, I'm not asking to pay for 200 people. That would be outrageous. But maybe 10 or 20 guys, we can get $400 or $500, take them out to dinner, sit down, and have a discussion about Christ and have a Bible study with them. How about that? How many are willing to do that right here, right now? Now, tonight, I'm hoping that Jake will come on, do a little video with us on my channel so I can introduce you guys who follow me to him. Get to know him a little bit. Introduce you to some of these other patriots that we'll be standing with in the future. But, we'll be going out with him to these marches and these crusader things standing against Islam with Bacon. But we do need your support. So, again, we have givesendgo.com/official street preachers. Cash App, $WFC Church, PayPal, paypal.me/XTRIAN Journal Media. It's also scrolling down there. It's in the description of the video.
Maybe we need.
No, it's not the description. I didn't put the description.
Maybe we need a Cash App that says, like $Bacon for Muhammad.
Bacon for Muhammad. That's funny.
That'd be funny.
Bacon for Muhammad.
Yeah.
Because we do have to buy a pig's head down here. We still have to go get that.
Yeah,
do you know where to get it from down there?
Mexican market.
Do you know where one is?
There's lots of them.
Okay. So we're going to have to go get that too. So again, you can support the ministry that way. Venmo, Words for Christ Ministry and all that. But anyway, that's it for now. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys, prayers. Those of you who have donated, those of you who continue to donate, we appreciate it. Like I said, you can help our brother Ricardo, help us out in our mission trips. Hopefully we'll see you tonight. If not, make sure you're subscribed to you're going to go live on yours tomorrow too, on the Official Street Preachers channel? Okay.
About 1 o'clock, I'll be live
on
the Official Street Preachers channel.
And I'll be live on this Warriors for Christ channel.
Yeah.
So make sure you have make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have notifications on, because I promise you don't want to miss tomorrow's live stream. I'll have my body camera on me as well, and all that. So you don't want to miss that. So it's youtube.com/@Warriors for Christ Official. And then the other channel is @Official Street Preachers. We have X, which is @WFC. Wait, where's my X? Oh, yeah, @WFC Preacher. And we have Facebook, Richard W. Penkoski Jr. Thanks a lot, you guys. Appreciate you all. Again, please help support the ministry. It's scrolling at the bottom.
And Facebook, David H. Grisham.
And Facebook, David H. Grisham. I don't have a description of these videos yet, but I'll go ahead and put one in now with the links on there if you want to find them. Give me about 10 minutes after the video ends to get all that done. God bless you guys. Hopefully we see you tonight with Jake if he wants to do it. If not, we'll see you tomorrow. Keep us in prayer.